Hey there, everybody. This is Mystic Fish, and welcome to episode 20 of our Factorio series on building an expandable base. Last episode, we got yellow science up and running, and as you might be able to tell here, we're moving on to space science or white science, depending on what you like to call it. And I did actually manage to figure out how to get this all into one production column, including using only 4 spaces for underground belts, which means we can actually downgrade this to yellow belts, believe it or not. And this was a fun one. This took me a little while to get together and figure out how to make it work, but it seems to be working, so I'm pretty excited about that. All right, let's take a look at the old factory planner. We have put the space science in here. And I really scaled this down along 2 axes. One, as we did with yellow science, I scaled it down so to have a full belt of copper, although I had to scale it a little further because it turned out that as I was monkeying around with stuff that I needed to scale down so that the green circuits would fit on a half belt, which I have done, and that is scaling things down to 76 items per minute. So interestingly, if we want to get 1350 and we do 76 signs per minute, we're going to need 18 of these. 18 of these. Which means if we can get 8 in a grid, we're not going to be able to do it in 2. But I think we have an easy way to scale this up. So, as we did last time, let's just take a quick tour here. We actually have the same inputs as we did for yellow science. We've got half a belt of iron, we've got a full belt of copper, half a belt of coal, half a belt of steel. We've got water coming in and petroleum gas coming in. As we did before, we're just running the coal up the middle so we can turn it into plastic and then be done with the coal. We also are doing the sulfur and sulfuric acid right up front so that we can be done with the water, which is only needed for the sulfur and the sulfuric acid, and we can also be done with the petroleum gas, which is only needed for these 2. We have a familiar pattern here. We're outputting the plastic over here, hitting them into an underground, which then spits them on the inside of this belt over here. We have seen that before, and then as we did with yellow science, we've taken the full belt of copper here. We are splitting it. Half of the belt we're sending further up here, and the other half of the belt we are actually putting onto the other half of the belt with the iron plates. Right. So one of the things to look at was that I wanted to see was the total amount of copper cable that we need for making, the total amount of copper plates we need for making copper cable is less than a half a belt. So that means this half belt that we're sticking here is enough for making all of our circuit stuff. And furthermore, that if we want to know what else is how much copper is needed beyond the circuits, if we take a look at this is around 2200. This is around 1200, which means there's about 1,000 copper plates per second needed for the other items that are up here, which is less than a half a belt. So we will see where we replenish this further up here. Now, this is, believe it or not, even though the green circuits are, a pretty low-level ingredient here, I had quite a bit of time to get this thing scaled up where I wanted it to be. So there's a lot of funky belt weaving going on here. So I did have to upgrade this copper cable machine to use 1 speed module. And so it's getting 2 inputs into here. It is actually putting both of its outputs onto belts, and then we have 2 inputs coming in here. This allows us to use stack inserters. We're 2 away here, so direct inserting with long-handed inserters was just not going to be enough, so I figured out how to do this with the belts here. Green circuits, as always, are coming on the other side of the belt with the plastic. The main thing to try to do here is I really wanted to get, we can see we really need to get almost a full half belt, right? Full half belt would be 1350. We need 1344, so that's basically full. So we really want to see a nearly compressed half belt of green circuits coming out here, which you can see there's an occasional gap that runs through here. But in order to do that, I had to get enough copper cables into each of these machines, and then have 2 output inserters each, so that they could really sort of pack things in. And so I did manage to do that pretty well. As before, we've got sulfuric acid that we have to weave up here. That's, again, one of the challenges. Now, I tried several times. This says, the factory plan says that we need just under 2 assembling machines making copper cable. I had to add a third one just for the copper cable for the red circuits. I tried for a while to share this one with this green circuit and the copper cables for the red circuits, and I just couldn't quite get enough out. And so once I added the third machine, then it's fine. We can see that we've got plenty of copper cables coming over here. We've got 2 outputs. We're doing some fun output belt stuff here with these copper cables for the red circuits. Here we can see that once we're past the green circuits and the copper cables for the green circuits, we can, if we watch here, occasionally some copper does make it past this one on the inside of the belt, and then we're filling in the other half of the belt here as we go to top that off. And so that ends up being enough copper. Let's see, we've got copper cables coming in here, also out here, and then hitting the side of this underground, which means they can all go on this side. And we use a little filter trick here to swap the copper cables onto the outer belt and the plates, copper plates and iron plates onto the inner belt. Then this is a very similar red circuit build to what we have seen before. We've got the plastic and the green circuits on one side, and then we're pulling copper cables in, red circuits out on this side. Okay, coming up here. Now, once we are past the red circuits, we won't need the plastic again until we get to LDS. And so, so we use this filter here that allows the green circuits through, but puts the plastic over here with the steel that we've been bringing up. We haven't needed steel yet, and so this, because the plastic is on the left side and we have an open belt over here with the steel, we can see that, that it actually combines quite nicely through this splitter. Over here, once we're past the red circuits, we are done with copper cables. And so we can use this underground trick to allow the red circuits through, to block the copper cables, and then the red circuits come over here and join the green circuits up here. Then we get into the blue circuits. And the next challenge was making sure the blue circuits could get enough green circuits in here. This was a little tricky because on the factory plan, we need exactly 1 machine, which means that we have, this is really the bottleneck machine. We need to keep this thing exactly busy. And so what I was able to do is I realized that it would be good, I could draw the red circuits over here because they're coming through on this underground, so that's fine. But I really needed to make sure this stack inserter here was only grabbing green circuits because it really, it just needs to do that full time. And so I used that stack filter inserter here, filtered to green circuits, so it only ever grabs green circuits. I would find sometimes that this, if it was a regular stack inserter, sometimes it would grab red circuits. This one can grab plenty of red circuits, and so I just said, basically this is saying never grab red circuits, only grab the green ones. And so that has generally, seems to be working pretty well. We can get, it's, yeah, we get a little bit of stall every once in a while, but mostly it works. Here's our sulfuric acid. This is our first use of the sulfuric acid, and we need to send it further up for batteries. Okay, we've got green and red circuits here, which means that we're perfectly well set up for the speed modules. I should mention blue circuits are coming out here onto a fresh belt. And then we're using this trick here to get them on the inside so that we can output the speed modules out here on the other side. So this belt has speed modules and blue chips on it. Let's see, everything else is continuing up. Here's the steel and plastic continuing up this way. And now we're ready for LDS. So what do we do? Okay, so first, we are done with red circuits after the speed modules. So this splitter is basically just allowing the green circuits through, and the red circuits come here and run into the back of this underground. So we're done with red circuits. That leaves some open space here, and so what we can do is we can filter the green circuits to the left here. That puts them on the inside of the belt, and then that turns the plastic and the steel over here onto the outside of this belt, where they're ready to be picked up by the LDS. Okay, what else do we have here? And then we've got the iron plates and copper plates. We're going to split the iron plates off and send them over here to combine with the green circuits. That's going to be convenient for some of the later pieces that go into making the satellite. And then the copper obviously comes to straight ahead and then gets sent on the outside here. This belt, if you remember, has speed modules and blue chips on it, which now shift to the inside because we won't need them until rocket control units. So now we're set up with plastic and steel for the LDS, and then we can grab copper, obvious here, and put the LDS onto the outside. It does look like we might be a little light on plastic here. We'll have to see. Well, how many? We should be 2.6, so this one should be mostly busy. We'll have to watch there. I wonder if we need to get... I wonder if we need an extra output belt. Or extra output of plastic here somehow. Which I guess we could do like this. That lets those through there, and then we can get... Well, that's 5. That won't work. You need to come up here. And plastic we want on the outside. So then what we want is... Will this work? No, that won't work. How do I get more plastic here? I need to jump across these like this. I guess what I could do is I could do this. No, this guy. Here. And then now I can jump this one like that. And then I can actually slide this guy over. Okay. That gets the coal in there. That's fine. And then we can get output. And you can go like this. And then we can get you're in there. We do need to get, that's 4, I guess. We need to get some power in there. That doesn't reach. Oh, maybe it does. No, it doesn't. Okay, we need to get power in here. I guess we can actually do this. No, that won't work. And, oh, this is why we're short. Hold on, maybe it's okay. We can get one more beacon down here. That's probably why it's slow. Alright, now we're cruising. That's better. Which means we can probably put all this stuff back. Alright, let's get this stuff back because I suspect one output is enough. You are going to go here. You are going to go there. You're going to go output there. And that goes up there, which means we can bring you up one, and boom. Okay, there we go. All right, that maybe will restore our plastic to better operations. So good. All right, let's come up here. So, right, we should hopefully see that work its way through here once, yeah, okay, now we're getting plastic going past the red circuits. Okay. And so we should hopefully see it, yeah, hopefully we see it stack up here in a minute. All right, but we were doing LDS, that's fine. Okay, after LDS, we are done with plastic at this point. Okay, so now plastic is getting through here, which is what we want. And this one is operating. It's got plenty of plastic now. Okay, great. Okay, but we are done with plastic now, but we still need steel. And so I did this underground trick here to bring the steel over where I could grab it for solar panels. A lot of the rest of this is like, what can I build that gets rid of an ingredient and frees up space for the output? Because at this point, right, we've got 1, 2, we've got green circuits and iron here, 3, 4, we got 2 over here, and 2 over here. So that is all the belts are full, basically at this point. So this both blocks the plastic and is the last place we need steel, so that actually frees up an entire belt, which, phew, that was part of it. Okay, so we can grab the green circuits here, we can grab the copper here. The solar panels come out on this side, hit this underground, come over here, and come on the inside of this belt. You can see them peeking through over here. We continue to bring the sulfuric acid up here, and now we're ready for batteries. And so batteries can grab the iron plates from this side, they can grab the copper from this side, and the only place we need batteries are in accumulators, so we're direct inserting those here. Batteries are the last place we use copper, so we can filter just for LDS and just let the LDS through, coming through here. And then up here, the accumulators also need iron plates. They're getting the batteries here. And then they are outputting over here. And now here is this trick with paying attention to, we got an output inserter that's parallel to the belt, right? And so it puts things on the right side in the direction of travel, which in this case, the belt direction of travel is from right to left. And so the right side of the belt then is actually the top. And so these are being put out on the top, which means they come over here, they can get past the wall of this underground and get onto the belt here, where we can see them stacking up. And so we join them up with the LDSs here. Here we can see the solar panels coming through. Then the last things that we need iron for are gears, which the only thing that uses gears are radars. And then the radar is also the last thing that uses iron plates and green circuits. So that can be the end of this belt, which is nice. The radar is, we're now doing the same trick again, but in the other direction. So now we're putting into this underground. And so the right side in the direction of travel is the bottom side of this belt, where we can see them coming around here, which means that when we loop around, they're on the top and they can sneak by the wall here and join the belt with the solar panels. All right, at this point, we've got most of the ingredients for satellites. And I decided to do a similar trick to what we did with the lubricant for the yellow belts, or sorry, yellow science, which is to bring the light oil in from the side here at this point. So we can bring it in, and in fact, I guess if we wanted to, we could even stick a pump in here just to make sure this stuff pumps across, which is good since we have room for it. And then this is pretty straightforward. We're just piping the light oil into the solid fuel. Because we've gotten rid of this belt, we have a new fresh lane available. So we're sticking the solid fuel out here onto this belt. Once it gets here, we're filtering that left so we can switch sides of the belt for it. And then the light oil continues up this way. And we just have 2 pairs of the rocket fuel with the light oil in between. So that is done with the light oil there. These are grabbing the solid fuel off the belt and then putting the rocket fuel onto the same belt. So that takes care of them. I did, because some of these are beacon aligned, I found that I needed to stick 1 speed module into each of these. But then we get to the fun one, which is satellites. And satellites need 6 ingredients, which is pretty wild. By the way, are all of our LDSs working full time? It seems like they generally are. So that's okay. All right, I just wanted to check that that's going to catch up here for us. Okay, so what do we got going on here? Okay, so this belt has LDS and accumulators. And so we can grab both of those ingredients in here. We also need blue chips. So I did this trick here, which is to just do a splitter that sort of sticks a belt worth of speed modules and blue chips here, where we can grab them with this inserter for the blue chips. I mean, this inserter will ignore the speed modules because they're not one of the ingredients here for a satellite. Here's our radar and solar panels, which we can just bend around and grab with this inserter. We can grab the rocket fuel with this inserter. And that's actually all of the inputs here. And then we output the satellites here onto their own belt. We stick them here on the left side. And then, let's see, what else do we do here? At this point, we are done with the accumulators. Accumulators are done once they get past the satellites. So we're, again, just filtering the LDS to pass here. Obviously, the rocket fuel continues, although we don't need the solid fuel. So we do this underground trick to grab the rocket fuel and block the solid fuel. The rocket fuel comes over here and joins this belt over here. We still had our speed modules and blue chips here up the middle, so we use this splitter here, which now we only have LDS on the left, so that means we can pivot it to the right, join it with the rocket fuel, and then swap the speed modules and blue chips out to the left. That allows us to build the rocket control units, which are pulling from this belt here and then outputting out here on the right. Along with the satellites are also coming up here. So I decided on the output side that I would actually split these by belt. And so we've got the rocket fuel and the LDS coming up this side. And so I've split the LDS out here and the rocket fuel over here. The RCUs are coming up here, and then the satellites up this side. Now, one of the things I noticed as I was building this is that it's really easy to get imbalanced here. So, so it's very easy to, to have sort of something consume all of something, and then we get too much of it, and then other things back up, and then it swings around, and then finally it's not grabbing one of the inputs anymore, and the inputs can get further down. And so in order to get more balanced output, what I did this little circuit logic here. So for these belts, I'm reading the belt contents. So tell me how many items are on here. A belt, 1 tile worth of belt, can hold 8 items. We're only using half of each belt. So there can be up to 4 items here. This belt can hold up to 4 LDS. This one can hold up to 4 rocket fuel, and this one can hold up to 4 rocket control units. And so they're all configured the same way. We just want to read those. Those are all going into this arithmetic combinator, which does not modify the counts, but it outputs them all as A. And so another way of thinking about this A is the sum of the items on these 3 belt segments. And then that output is then used to enable or disable the belts. And basically, these belts are only going to be enabled if A is 12, meaning that we've got 4 stacked up in each one of these, then these belts will move forward. And so that means that, if we're short on something, we wait for it to catch up before we let more of something else out. And so that should that'll save us. I don't know how much belt routing we'll have to do to get to the rocket silos downstream. Rocket silos are enough that we can probably share rocket silos across multiple of these stacks. The last thing that we did for balancing was, so if you look at satellites really get pretty hungry, right? Like they really use like lots of like pretty expensive stuff, right? Like blue circuits and stuff. And so I was really concerned with this machine not grabbing like everything, because we don't need to make that many satellites. And so what I did was, we take a look here. We need 0.076 satellites per minute. Or another way of saying that is we need one satellite every, if we divide 1 divided by 0.076, we get every 13 minutes or so. Okay, so we only need one satellite each of those times. If we do that, that's once every 789 seconds. And if we multiply by 60, that's every 47,368 ticks of the game clock. And so what I did was I made a little counter here. So this is a constant combinator with just counting 1C here for count. We've got an arithmetic combinator with a loop back, right? Its output loops back around as an input. That constant also comes in as an input. So this will count up. But what it does is this does the modulo operator. And then this is that constant, 47,368. And so this will count up to that number and then go back to 0 over and over again. And then we take the output here and control it here, and we say, okay, this is the output inserter for the satellite. You should only fire when C is 0, which only happens once every 13 minutes. And so we can see that once we get enough LDS in here, this will build, and then it will just hold. We can see that it's currently disabled, and then at that point, once it's filled up, then it will no longer try to, it'll stop grabbing ingredients at that point after a while. And so then more ingredients can get through up here. We can see we're currently waiting on LDS up here, right? So both the satellite wants it, and that seems to be the thing that we're missing up here. We're backing up both rocket fuel and RCUs. So let's just come back and take a peek down here. Although it does seem like even this last one is running full bore. And there's plenty of ingredients. Copper is getting past even this one. So I think this is okay. I think this is going to catch us up here. Okay, so let's just take a look. We need to be producing, let's call it 55 RCUs, 62 LDS, and 58 rocket fuel. So if we take a look at our production stats over a minute, we needed to be getting, I don't remember what I said. I'm curious about the LDS. LDS is currently producing 69, 70. That is plenty. RCUs need to be doing 54. We're backed up, so this last one is not working, so I think that's okay. Because it's backed up because we're waiting on the LDS, but we're getting enough LDS, so that's all right. And then the rocket fuel, 58, 59, is that what we need? Yeah, 58. So I think this is doing it. I think this is doing it. Did we get enough LDS? Yeah, okay, so here's the satellite is ready. It's been held. And so now at this point, we should see that we're not even, because its output is backed up, it's no longer going to try to fill the input, and so the LDS can actually get all the way through to the end and then allow for the output. And so we're about to see this get past the end here. Maybe? We'll see. Maybe it's not catching up. But I am convinced that if we take a look at these guys here, these are, per minute, these are making 69, which is more than what the factory plan calls for. So I think this is all working as planned. And that is just, that's exciting. I will do a little bit of work offline. Obviously, we have to do the versions of the blueprints that will downgrade this to yellow belts. We are also going to have to figure out how to break it up across. I'm a little curious. How big is this? How big is this thing? Okay, so it's not so long. It will definitely fit within 2 grid segments. But as we said, we're going to need 18 of these, which means that we are probably, this is probably going to end up looking, something more like this. I don't know that we'll need that one there. I think these will come down here so we can get 3 wide, and we'll just use we'll bring the copper in like so. I suspect we would probably just turn this into copper as well. This is pretty copper hungry. Something like that. And so that's how we're going to lay that out. We are now done with our science designs. Obviously, I have a little bit of work to do to produce the other versions of the blueprints, as I said. So what is left at this point? We still have a handful of things left to do. One of them is we do need to design the labs. We need to design modules. We need to design the mall. We need to design, actually for blue science and above, we need to design the oil processing. Let's see, we should do a design for the power and the Jumpstart base as well. And the builder train as well. So we got a handful of things to do. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 for the oil processing, including any solid fuel stuff we want to do, and then 7 for the builder train. So a few more episodes, and then something around that point, and then we will be able to actually start the playthrough. But this is where we are. This is I am pretty happy with this. I will say I'm a little proud of myself. This was tricky to get this all working in one production column. I'm happy about that just because it was a fun puzzle, but also because it means that we can use the existing upgrade paths that we have worked out for sort of our other production columns. We can share modules. And we understand how to upgrade these across yellow belts and red belts and blue belts and various forms of modules. So that is good stuff. And yeah, so that's what we got for today. So as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And until then, bye.